Okay, good afternoon, class. So at this point, we're looking at trigonometric ratios. We're looking at the examples for exercise 7.7. And the heading for today is ratios of special angles in the interval 0 to 360 degrees. So exercise 7.7 is on page 239. Alright, 239. And the examples are on page 237. Okay, as I said, the heading for today is the ratios of special angles in the interval 0 to 360 degrees. Alright, you guys ready? Okay, now that we have mastered the technique of reducing ratios of any angles to a ratio of an acute angle. Acute angles mean angles between 0 to 90 degrees. You are equipped to evaluate the ratios of any special angle in the interval 0 to 360 without using a calculator. Remember, when you guys are going to write your NBT, they will tell you there's no calculators to be used in that maths exam. So all the trig, when it comes to trigonometric ratios, deals with special angles. Okay? So if it says without the use of a calculator, try your best to, as far as possible, not use a calculator. Okay, so then when you write that exam at the university, then you know exactly what to do. Okay, you're already okay with that. People, I'm looking at example 1. Example 1 is on page 237. Determine the value of each of the following without the aid of a calculator. So let's look at A. You got sine of 120 degrees. Right. So where do we start? We say, okay, all stations to level. In which quadrant is 120 degrees in? Sorry? Quadrant 2. How do we get in quadrant 2? 180 minus. You could have said 90 plus, but we wouldn't use 90 plus or minus or 270 plus or minus unnecessarily. Only when we really need to. Okay? But if you had said 90 plus and then sign change to cos, no problem. You'll get the same answer or the same correct answer. Okay? So how do we get into the second quadrant? You're going to come 180 minus what? 60. And again 60 is the acute angle. 180 minus 60, side positive or negative? Positive. Is positive sign of 60. Now what does 60 remind us of? Of special angles. Not so. So if that is 30, that is 60, this is 1, 2, root 3. That's the right way on the side. 1, 2, root 3. And then of course the 45 degrees. There's 1, 1, the root 2. And the one that is not a triangle but work for what we're using it for. Okay, S16, don't come to me tomorrow and tell me somebody told you it's not the real angle. Okay? It works for what we're looking at. Because these things you should be able to draw out of your head at this point. Okay? So, sine of 60. Sine is opposite over? Opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite is root 3, hypotenuse is 2. So it's root 3 over. You guys understand? And we can check it. The nice thing about this is we can check. Okay? So we got sine 120 degrees, root 3 over 2. Okay? You guys understand? So any confusion? Let's look at B. Look at B. Here we got cos of 240 degrees. Which quadrant is 240 degrees in? Third quadrant. How do we get in the third quadrant? 180 plus. Can you see that, people? So it becomes cos of 180 plus 60 degrees. Well, I could have said 270 minus 30. Okay, but as I said, we're going to use 270 and 90. Sine changes to cos and cos changes to sine. Okay. So 180 plus is in the third quadrant. Is cos positive or negative in the third quadrant? Negative. So it's going to be negative cos of 60 degrees. So what does cos stand for? Adjacent over hypotenuse. What's my adjacent to 60? 1. Hypotenuse is 2. So this will simply be negative. See any confusion there? Any confusion? No. Let's look at C. See, we got tan of 315 degrees. Which quadrant is 315 degrees in? Fourth quadrant. How do we get into the fourth quadrant? It's going to be 360 minus 45. So is tan positive or negative in this quadrant? Negative. So what do I write? Negative tan 45 degrees. We go negative. Now 45, tan of 45 is what? What does tan stand for? Opposite over? Adjacent. So it's going to be 1 over 1. So that answer is simply negative. See, any confusion, any questions? Any questions? So make a note there, people. So to the steps that we will be following: reduce two ratios of acute angles using the reduction formula, and then fill in the ratio of the special angle using the special angle table or the special angles diagram. Okay. Those are the steps we will follow to simplify these sums. Okay. I didn't give you a class test in a while, no? So I think I should give you one tomorrow. Thanks for reminding me. The test will be up until 7.8, huh? 7.8. We test tomorrow, yeah. You want the geometry test? Come on, guys, you should be the best in geometry that I've ever had. Because I've done so much geometry with you people. I've done each and every sum with you people. Was I doing it on my own? Thanks a lot. Okay. People, example 2. Example 2 is on page 437. Thanks, Zara. Determine the value of the following expression without a calculator. People, you all agree I can type this in the calculator and get the answer out. Then how much marks out of 4 you think I'm going to get? 0. Okay, you'll get no marks because that you not following the rules of the game. Okay. Well, the instructions, you're not following the instructions. So let's look at number 1. So where do we start? Cos diagram. All stations to clear 180, 0, 360. And then we need the special angles. So that is 30, 1, 2, root 3, 45, 1, 1, root 2. And of course the thing is not a triangle. It's 90, 0, 1, 1, 0. Okay. So 240 people. 240 is in which quadrant? In which quadrant? Third quadrant. How do you get in the third quadrant? 180 plus 60. Done. 330 is in which quadrant? Quadrant 4. How do you get in quadrant 4? 360 minus 30. Okay. So 180 plus 60, which is in the third quadrant. Is sign positive or negative in the third quadrant? Negative. Can you see that, people? So it's going to be negative sine 60 times 360 minus, which quadrant is that in? Quadrant 4. Is cos positive or negative in quadrant 4? Positive. So it's cos 30 degrees. So let's go. It's negative. Sine 60 will go in there and cos of 30 will go into there. So sine 60 is your 60 degrees. Sine, what does sine stand for? Opposite over hypotenuse. So it's root 3 over 2. Cos of 30, this 30 cos is adjacent over hypotenuse is root 3 over 2. That's negative. What's the root 3 times root 3? 2 times 2 is negative 3 over. You understand? Josie? You understand? Simple, no? You can't get easier than this. Even if we try. Okay? Alright. Let's go with B. Okay. We don't need to write B. B. Sine square 300 plus tan 135. People, which quadrant is 300 in? Fourth quadrant. How do we get in the fourth quadrant? So it's 360 degrees minus 30. 60, you are absolutely correct. 360 minus 60 is 300 plus. Which quadrant is 135 in? Quadrant 2. Is tan positive or negative in quadrant 2? Negative. Remember that. No? How do we get in quadrant 2? 180 minus 45. Okay.
So tan is negative in that.
Tan is negative. Right, so sine squared 360 minus 60 is in which quadrant? Which quadrant is that in? Fourth quadrant. Is sine positive or negative in the fourth quadrant?
Negative.
Negative. But because of the square, it's going to remain positive. Why? Because there is 2 sine 360 minus 60 is here. And negative times negative is of course positive. So it's sine squared 60.
So why is the square so big?
Sorry?
Why is the square so big if it's positive?
Why is it still big? I don't understand.
Why is the square so big? So that means not multiply it out so we.
You see that what does that square actually mean? You have that. I've just taken this out. What does that mean? That means you say it's going to be sine 360 minus 60 times sine 360 minus 60. That is what it means when we say sine squared 360 minus 60. So 360 minus 60 is in the fourth quadrant. Sine is negative sine 60 times negative sine 60. You see that? What's negative times negative? Positive. Sine 60 times 6, sine 60, sine squared 60. Or this can be written as sine 60 all squared. This is also what that means, no? It's the same thing. Alright? Does that answer your question? The girl behind you. Okay? But now I just make it a rule for myself. Whenever we have a square, you won't get a negative coming from a square. The number will always be positive. Okay? Instead of doing all that steps here, I just remember. I'll make a note for my mental note. Okay. People 180 minus 45 is in which quadrant? Second quadrant. Is tan positive or negative? So it's negative. Tan. Now what? Here's 60 not so. What does sine stand for? Opposite over hypotenuse. So that's going to be square root of 3 over 2 squared minus tan of 45. Tan is opposite over Jason. It's 1 over 1. So what's the square root of 3 squared? Squared 2 squared is 4 minus 1. 3 over 4 minus 1 is negative. Okay, any confusion there? Any confusion, people? Right. Let's look at the next two sums dealing with the same instruction. Okay, so the question says, I'm just going to move this over. Okay, that's it. Turn this one off. Okay. People, let's look at C. Okay, let's look at C of example 2 on page 237. The question says cos of 300 plus sine of 150 over tan of 225. Where do we start? We reduce this to acute angles first. Not so. So what is that going to give us? Which quadrant is 300 in? Fourth quadrant. Okay, how do we get in the fourth quadrant? 360 minus 60 plus 150 is in which quadrant? Quadrant 2. How do you get in quadrant 2? 180 minus 30. And this is all over. Tan 225. Which quadrant is 225 in? Third quadrant. It becomes tan of 180 plus. So let's do the reduction part. 360 minus fourth quadrant is cos positive negative? Positive. Cos 60. 180 minus which quadrant is this in? Second quadrant. Sine positive negative? Positive. Sine 30. Why didn't I change this to cos? It's not 90 or 270. Okay. 180 plus is in which quadrant? 3. Is that positive or negative? Positive. 10. Then put it next to it. So cos 60, I must use a 60-degree triangle. Cos stand for adjacent over hypotenuse. So it's 1 over 2 plus sine of 30. Sine gives you 30 degrees. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So it's 1 over 2. And this is all over tan 45. What does tan stand for? Opposite over adjacent. So it's 1 over 1. You guys understand? What's a half plus a half? 1 over 1 over 1 is 1. And 1 over 1 is? Again, you can test that, people. In your exam, just go, right, let's check if we correct. Press the fraction, cos 300, close the bracket, plus sine, 150, close the bracket, over tan, 225, close the bracket, give you an answer of 1. Don't do that at the beginning of the sum. And the right one is the solution. When we mark this, we mark here. Right, you got that, your sign is right, and so on. You do the substitution, and then your answer. Okay. If you are not awarded these marks here, forget about those things. Okay, because I know you can put in a calculator cos of 300, and you're going to get off. This is what we want to see. Okay, we're marking that order. So any problems? Any questions? Yes? Yeah, she's saying for 225, you could have said 270 minus 45, but 10 becomes 1 over 10. Remember when you're busy with sine, 90 plus or minus sign changes to cos. No? And we got cos 90 plus or minus. Then cos changes to sine. But when you have 10, 10 changes to 1 over 10. Okay, you must just make a note there. Otherwise, what you could have done is, as well, you could have just used the fact that 10, say 90 minus alpha, is going to be sine 90 minus alpha over cos 90 minus alpha. So that takes you to the first quadrant, which is cos alpha over 90 minus sine alpha. Now remember, sine over cos is tan, but cos over sine is the reciprocal, which is 1 over 10. That is why I say that tan 90 minus alpha. I don't think you made a note on that yet, no? So tan 90 minus alpha is going to be 1 over 10 of alpha. Or if you say 90 plus alpha, which quadrant is 90 plus alpha? Which quadrant is 90 plus alpha? Second quadrant. Is tan positive or negative in that quadrant? Negative. So that will be negative 1 over 10. Okay? But if I'm you in the exam, if I got tan 180 plus or minus, tan of 90 plus or minus, I will just change it to sine over cos and do my thing. So anyway, you're going to change it to cos over sine later on. Because it will cancel out with this with certain things. Okay? Yes, Ratna Billy? As I said, you don't need to know this, but what I would have done is, what I normally do is, I change tan to sine over cos and do my thing from here. Okay, so do you have to remember this? No. But because you asked that question, I just answered it. People at 270 is the same story. Yeah? If you say tan of 270 minus alpha, that takes you to quadrant 3. So that's going to be 1 over 10 of alpha. Or you say 270 plus alpha, quadrant 4. Tan is negative 1 over 10. Okay. But as I said, you don't need this. You just, tan is written as sine over cos. I think I'm repeating myself over and over. Right? Any other confusion here? You will understand, eh? Let's do the last one. It's now D. Again, the question is determine the value of the following without the use of a calculator. I'm looking at D now. Again, if the question says large use a calculator, know the special angles is coming into play. Somehow. Is Lana, are you okay? Lana's having the best sleep of her life. Ne? You okay, Michael? Maths giving you a headache? People, which quadrant is 300 in? Quadrant 4. You stand positive and negative. In quadrant 4, negative. Just remember that. How do I get into quadrant 4? 360 minus 60 times. Sine 120. Which quadrant is 120? In the second quadrant. How do we get in the second quadrant? 180 minus. Or 90 plus, no? 180 minus. Now I can reduce that to everything. Not so. Cos 90 minus alpha. Which quadrant is that in? 90 minus alpha. Quadrant 1. Is cos positive or negative? Cos is? Positive. But changes to? Sine now. Why must it change? 90 degrees. You understand? And this is over. 180 minus, which quadrant is that in? Quadrant 2. Is sine positive or negative in quadrant 2? Positive. Does it change? No. So it's sine. So hang on. What can happen here? Cancels, he said. Sine cancel sine. So I can reduce these now, not so. Am I moving too fast? Okay. So 360 minus is in which quadrant? 4. Is tan positive or negative in quadrant 4? Negative. So it's negative 10, 60 times. Sine 180 minus 60, which quadrant? 2. Is sine positive or negative here? Positive. So it's just sine. So it's negative tan 60, sine 60. There you go, the 60 degree angle. Tan, what does tan stand for? Opposite of adjacent, so it's the root of 3 over 1. Opposite over adjacent. Right. Sine of 60. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So that would be root of 3 over 2. So it's negative. Root 3 times root 3. 3. 1 times 2 is? The answer is negative 3 over 2. Any confusion there, people? So with that, you should have done exercise 7.7, correct? Was that part of your homework? Sorry? Was it part of the homework? Yes. Okay. So you guys watched the previous year's video, no? So you had to do the odd numbers out of there. Is that correct, or am I understanding it wrong? Huh? Yes, okay. Was there any problems with 7.7's exercise? Yes. What was the problem, Michael? 1. Okay. Now why did you say, like, why are you so confused about it, but now you got sums for me? Surprising. Huh? Okay.
So the video's still going now.
Anna? So I can just pick up what the issues are. So the sum was sine of 225. So which quadrant is 225 in? Third quadrant. How do we get in the third quadrant? 180 plus. So sine 180 plus 45. If you had gone with 270 minus, then you had to change to cos of 45. Okay. Is sine positive or negative in the? It's negative. So it's going to be negative sine 45. Sine of 45 is 1 over root 2. So what was the problem there? Is root 2 over 2. Now, remember rationalization of denominators. Come on, girls. Hey, forgot about term 1's work. June exam, you're writing on everything, yeah? Right, any other problems? Number 1. Number 2. Yes, 2C. It's all to do with the C's, no? C's are giving you guys problems. I think it's because you see that sign of 2 to 5. What sign of 2 to 5? Negative 1 over root 2 squared plus sign of 90. That is 0, 90, 0, 1, 1. What is sign of 90? What does sign stand for? Opposite over hypotenuse. So it's 1 over 1. Negative squared is positive. 1 squared is 1. The root of 2 squared? 2. Plus 1. The root cancel the squares. And what is a half plus 1? 1 and a half, or 3 over 2. So what was your mistake here? What was your problem? Yeah, I just showed you from the triangle. That's I say?
Sir, I got 3 over 2.
Come on, my girl. You. Okay, I think because it's the last period, then let's just blame it on the last period. People, any other issues here? 2? E. So you got sine 150 plus 10, 2 to 5 minus cos 120. So, which quadrant is 150? 180 minus 30 plus 10, this is quadrant 2. 180 plus 45 minus, that's in quadrant 2. Did I say 2 here? This is 3, no? Cos 180 minus 60. So 180 minus 30 is in quadrant 2. Sign positive or negative? Is sign positive or negative in the second? Oh, yes, now talk to me. I feel like a mad person. 180 plus, which quadrant is this in? Third, 10 positive or negative? Positive, 10, 45. Minus. Now, 180 minus is in which quadrant? 2. Is cos positive or negative? Negative. But that negative that's coming from here, times this negative will result in a positive. Cos 60. Okay. So again, do we have the 30? No. So there's 30. 60. 1, 2, root 3. Sine. What does sine stand for? Opposite over hypotenuse. 1 over 2 plus. Tan 45. What does tan stand for? Opposite over 1 over 1 plus cos of 60. Cos is adjacent over hypotenuse is 1 over 2. So what's half plus half? 1. Right, you guys showing some promise there. And 1 plus 1 is 2. Right. Any other issues with 7.7? Right, so with that you should be able to do 7.7, all the remaining sums. Okay? So you only have to do the odd numbers here, correct? For the first column. The full lesson can be found in the description box below.